to our How to Host a Seed Swap event. It's a collaboration with the North Carolina Community Garden Partners and North Carolina A&T Cooperative Extension. My name is Morgan, and I'll be presenting along with Josie. Okay, so Josie, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah. So,
Perfect.
um, one of the main reasons to host a seed swap, go ahead. Oh, you're right. To host a seed swap is to encourage community building because the seed swap doesn't work unless the community works together. Um, People bring seeds and they talk to each other. They learn about what each other is growing. They ask questions, and you learn who's in your community, and you also learn what people are growing because sometimes people grow things you didn't think could grow in your community, and other times you're growing things that they thought wouldn't grow. And to share seeds. The easiest way to find locally adapted seeds is to have a seed swap. It's good to be able to buy seeds from a seed catalog, but they're not always suited to where you live. After you've grown them for a season or two, those seeds are more adept at surviving your climate, your weather, your conditions.
Okay, so getting started on hosting the seed swap event, you want to make sure, as you're starting to plan or have the idea, that you start planning with plenty of time to organize the event. So 6 to 8 weeks is ideal if you can get that amount of time ahead of time to start planning the event. You'll want to make sure that you choose a date and time that avoids any conflicts with community events or any other things that might be going on within the community or within the organization that you're hosting, so that you're not overlapping. And then, make sure you keep the event short. 1 hour is an ideal time, so that way folks can arrive and stay the entire time. They have enough time to mingle with people, talk, share information about their seeds, but they don't have to stay all day. And then when you're picking out a venue, you want to make sure that you can find a place that is accessible, that has space for everyone to fit. Parking is important too. And then if you can also join the seed swap as part of another event, tag it onto something else, have a table set up where people can share their seeds throughout the event at a conference or another community event that's going on. It's a great way to kind of synergize the events that you have going on in your community. And then along with that, you want to partner with local businesses and organizations. You want to make sure that you have either you or there's another one person in your group that has some knowledge about seed saving and plants that they can share with people. But partnering with groups that might not have that brings a newer audience, and you can grow from there. And then if they have if they have a location, you can partner with someone if they already have. Oops, did I lose this screen sharing? Nope.
Mm.
Okay. Um, um, and you want to make sure that they can share with their audience and their participants about the event. For what information that you need to share, you want to make sure who's bringing the tables, is there going to be seating, and if you need extra space, who's going to provide that. Okay, and then finding volunteers. You want to make sure that you have a good set of volunteers. It doesn't have to be too many people, but just a couple folks that you can rely on to get there early to help set up chairs and tables. And they can also help spread the word to other folks in their networks. And then a couple people who can stay and help clean up after the event, especially if you're borrowing an event space from someone else. You want to make sure you leave it nice and tidy, clean up any trash or any spilt seeds. It's inevitable that, a couple seeds are gonna be knocked over, and you want to make sure you pick up that and leave the space nice and clean. And then you have someone who can greet people and help with check-in, make sure people sign in. And if, you're collecting emails or collecting information on how many people attended or what they brought, make sure that you have a dedicated person who can keep track of all that information. And then, one or two folks that help people sort their seeds or put the seeds in the right location to keep the space organized. Um, and then, you know, providing name tags or if you have t-shirts in your budget, something to kind of encourage people to come and ask questions. If you see someone's name, then you're more likely to go up to them and say, hey, you know, my name is whatever. So that's always a good idea too.
All right. So at the seed swap, you can have seed talks. So people talking about different things that you can do with seeds, how to save them, how to grow them, or whatever. Or you can have an experts corner. If you have the seed talks, you need to set aside time for that. You can do it before the seed swap even starts so that everybody is there for the talk and then you disperse into the seed swap. Um, or if it's big enough, you can have it during the seed swap, which is what happened at this event in Greenville. Um, and if you have an experts corner, that's just some people like master gardeners or just local experts. And if you know if you're close enough to a university, maybe some professors, whatnot, they'll be there so you can direct people to them for questions, or if they just want to talk about plants, or they have specific questions about how to grow stuff, or you know, I have this issue or that issue, and they have somebody to talk to. And to find the experts, most of the time you can just put a call out and say, hey, we're looking for these type people. But like I said, check the master gardeners, local garden groups, or any kind of plant related groups. They're an easy way to find quote unquote experts. Make sure that you have seed saving information available for the people at the seed swap, um, either digitally or actual physical paper, um, because it's good because not everybody knows how to save seeds, and they might get seeds that they're not familiar with and gonna need some information. And if somebody is giving a talk, that gives the volunteers time to finish sorting the seeds, and if people are still pouring in, you know, uh, it'll give everybody a chance to kind of settle in before the seed swap starts. So the next couple slides, these are just general planning and organizing tips for any event, not necessarily a seed swap. These are just good ideas in general. Um, so prepare the communication materials, whatever posters, flyers, whatever you're going to have. Prepare those, share them with your partners, and then decide on a timeline. When are we going to send these out, and who are we going to send them to? Um, Ask your partners, do they want to have their logo on it? If they do, make sure that it's up there before you get them all printed and done up, because yeah, that's just a mess because it's more money that you probably don't have to spend. Um, Find out if there are any hashtags or links that can be used to boost your reach. Um, because a lot of times, especially if you're connecting with a second event, like you're part of something bigger, they have a hashtag, so you can find out if they have one, or if there's a place you can send people that will send them back to you. And they like Morgan said before, your partners might be in a different have a different audience than you do. So you might be reaching brand new people. So who are they reaching? Who are we missing? Make sure you remember, just don't just reach out to people you know. Do you want to get the local media involved? Newspaper, TV, radio. Does anybody have connection to these people? And if you do connect with either the radio, the newspaper, or the TV, is there any piece of information that you definitely want to get out, like about your organization, about the seed swap, about any upcoming events? Just so that, if the news organization sends somebody, they don't just show up and like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of people swapping seeds and they leave. Like, make sure there's something you have, something that you want them to get out to the public. Build anticipation on social media. Whatever, like, there's always some kind of TikTok trend or Instagram trend, or even on Facebook, maybe you can capitalize on that to advertise about the seed swap, to get more participants, like I said, hashtags. Um, During your social media campaign, send out information that is adjacent to seed swaps. So seed saving, how to properly label your envelopes. If you want to make your own envelope, give people, something creative to do to set themselves apart. So they don't have the same old, like brown coin envelopes. Encourage people being environmentally conscious, to use junk mail, old catalogs, wrapping paper, whatever, because some people really get into like making their own envelopes. And it'll also make it easier to say, oh, that's, that those seeds came from this person because of, the packaging, which could be beneficial after it's over with to, reconnect with people, to reconnect with those people. Make sure you instruct everybody, how much seed is usable seed. We're going to share a graphic with you that basically breaks down like how much seed do you need depending on what kind of plant it is. Because some plants you only need 4 or 5, some you need, 10 or 20. Discourage people from bringing in bulk seed. But if people bring it, try not to let it stop the seed swap. Just, make sure you have some like plates or bowls so people can get the seeds, that everything is labeled properly and big enough so people can actually see it and read it, and, have extra envelopes so if people do want some of the bulk seed, they can pack it up themselves and, write down the necessary information. Connect with the plant and garden influencers. No, regardless of where you live, they exist. It seems kind of, silly to think about, but you have some plant and garden influencers nearby you. Connect with the local businesses and organizations to promote the event. Here's an example of poor labeling. You know what it is, but you don't know, where did it come, who did it come from, where was it grown, and how old these seeds are. So if you don't really want to get into the whole labeling thing, make sure that everybody understands the minimum is you need to know variety. So like what are these seeds? What kind of seeds are these? So like mammoth dill, you got the variety, you got the species, and what year? Like what are they from this year? Are they from 2 years ago? Because it makes a difference. You want to have the most viable seed possible. But if people bring old seeds, it's not the end of the world. But I would prefer that everybody knew that they were old seeds, so they weren't, surprised or next year like, oh, I came and got these seeds and they didn't. It's like, well, but they told you that they were old, so and if they're old, it encourages people to take more. So that way, hopefully they'll get the ones that survive. Mhm. Okay, and I think is this the last planning one?
Yeah, I think this is our last planning. Yeah.
Yeah. So, does your organization have information that they want to share? Same as with the partners, make sure you have an extra table, and do you need somebody to sit at that table? Because once you start putting everything together, you might forget, oh wait, we need a table for ourselves. So not only just for your partners, but you might need a table for yourself. How many people do you expect? That's to make sure you have enough tables to put out the seeds. You don't necessarily need to have enough chairs for people to sit in, because hopefully they'll be walking around, talking and moving. If you have a talk at the beginning, having enough chairs and is an issue. But if but if the talk is not that long, you can have people stand around and it's, not take up, not be too much of an issue. Um, do you plan to share a meal with the volunteers and partners after the seed swap? That's something you need to think about, as a thank you and to kind of debrief. But that also means that you need to think about the supplies that you need for that, in addition to the ones for the seed swap, so you don't forget. And don't forget to create the categories that you're going to put your seeds in, because the volunteers are going to need to know what goes where. And this is just a list of things that you need to keep in mind. And the tablecloths might seem a little much, but it'll make it so much easier at the end because, as Morgan said, seeds will get spilled, and it'll be a whole lot easier to clean them up. You just pay if you have a tablecloth. And it doesn't. I mean, it preferably it would be cloth, but if it's plastic, it's plastic. And signage so that people know where to go and where things are. And the extra envelopes is always something you need.
Yes, it's great to have extra materials. Even if you don't think you'll need it, it's good just to have it.
Yeah. And one thing that we talked about right before y'all got here, and actually I'll show you the address labels that you get from charities, and hopefully you can't read that too well. But anyway, you talk to people and tell them, to bring those. It's a good way to they can put them on their envelopes, so that anybody who takes their seeds will know where they came from. But also, it's a good way for people to instead who don't have personal business cards. You can just put that and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so and so, and here's my address," and we can exchange seeds later, or you can come over to my house and look at my garden or whatever. It's a good way to use those up because usually you have way too many. So these are some ideas of things to share on the tables, or in social media. Talk about local seed libraries, community gardens, seed saving groups, community events, planting calendars, or have information on seed saving. And can you think of something else that might be a good thing to share with the participants of the seed swap? And timing is everything, because when you have the seed swap matters, because you don't want to have it too close to planting time, and having it too early. It's not bad, but people might get really excited, like, oh, I've got all these great seeds, and then they just have to sit for 3 months and not do anything because it's too cold. So when should you have a seed swap? The sweet spot is towards the end of winter, but not too close to spring, because you want to, like I said, have enough enthusiasm that people are ready for the spring, but not be too close in spring where they don't have time to actually plant them, let them start, grow, and then actually have to grow them during the coming seasons. So one option is National Seed Swap Day, which has an official hashtag. If you do have your seed swap, National Seed Swap Day, it started in DC in 2006, and it's since gone national. And National Seed Swap Day is the last Saturday in January. So once Seed Swap Day comes, what do you need to make sure everything goes according to plan, or that it's successful? Because even if it doesn't go to plan, it could still be successful. So you make sure that the volunteers are prepped and ready to go at least 30 minutes before the event starts. So that means that 30 minutes before it starts, they know what they're supposed to do. They know where they're supposed to go. So you either want them there an hour before, or maybe a little bit more, depends on like how much setup you need to do. But go do a rundown of how it's going to work, where everything is, what everybody's responsibility is, Um, make sure the volunteers know that if people have plant questions, they need to go to the expert corner and have the experts answer those. That keeps people from, bottleneck having bottlenecks at the front or the back. Um, you can, put people in the right direction as soon as they come. And then the seed swap just goes how it goes. People come in, they check in, the volunteers sort the seeds. If it's a really small one, you might not even need them to sort the seeds, but it's a good idea. That way you know that everything is in the right category. Because sometimes when you leave it up to people, they might put stuff in places that it doesn't need to go. And then just let the seed swap go how it goes. People talk, they'll exchange seeds. It'll be it'll be a good time. Everybody gets to meet and have fun. So after it's over, uh, you want to wrap up. Make sure you thank the volunteers, ask them for their feedback, and take their feedback seriously because they know what you didn't say. And if they believe that you are listening to them, they'll probably come back next year uh and improve, and their comments will improve the next seed swap that you have. And if it's in the budget, have a meal with everybody who was involved. And here's a picture from a seed swap in Winston-Salem.
Yeah, and what was nice about this one is they had the information partners tables on the side, and then they had tables in the middle where you could walk around on either side of the table, and they kind of spread out the seeds so that way as someone's sorting or picking up the seeds or making a note, you can kind of let people move through the room so they don't all get. I mean, people do kind of cluster together, but it helps them keep moving through and gives everyone a chance to see everything. Thank you for attending How to Host a Seed Swap, a collaboration with North Carolina Community Garden Partners and North Carolina A&T Cooperative Extension. Please reach out with any questions.